Okay, in today's video, we will look at the form engine and how we can create a form within HR365. So if you go under Form Engine, we have forms, questions, and the filled forms or responses. So if you go to Forms, you will see some of the forms that we have already created with the number of questions in each form, the total number of users assigned forms, how many responses you have received. If you want to create a new form, you click New Form. However, before we do that, let's talk about the questions, as the form is a combination of multiple questions. First, you have to define your questions. With the question, you define the title or the question itself, the data type, whether you want free text, tick box, drop down, and so on. You define placeholder to help the users understand what should be input in that field. And then once you have all your questions in place, you combine them in a form, and you'll be able to start assigning the form to the users, or allow the users to pick a form, populate it, and send it. So, let's say we want to create a complaint form, right? Employees can complain about any aspects of their job, maybe stress, their line manager, some sort of harassment, and so on. So first, we're going to define the questions, okay? So I'll create a new question saying, where did the event take place? We will say this is a drop-down and should select from one of the locations. And for this one, we will choose a drop-down. We have the main headquarter, Factory 1, Factory 2. Or client side, right? I would like to make this mandatory, and while I'm making those changes, on the right side, I see a preview of my question. My question will look like this. Looks good. Save. I need another question. And for this one, we'll say complaint date. This will be a date field. Okay. And we need another question for details. Right, and for this one, we want a text field. Let's call it complaint details. I want another question to ask whether you want to be contacted for further investigation. And for this one, we want a yes/no type. So it will be a toggle like this. All right, so we have 4 questions. Now we would like to combine them in a form. All right, so we go to Forms, create a new form. Here, we go through a wizard. So the first thing is, what's the form name? Let's say Employees Complaint Form. Description, this is for internal use only. Use this. Right. Now for this form to be submitted, you can have up to 3 levels of approval. Right? So, do you want this form to be approved by your line manager? Probably not for this one. Does it require an approval by HR? Definitely yes. Okay. And the third approver, if you want, you can select one of those business roles. So payroll, HR business partner, or other. We just need HR for now? Okay. Next. This is step where we define the questions and put them in the right order. Okay, so we have complaint date, we need this one. Complaint detail. Do you want to be contacted for further? Okay, yes. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see everything. And we have a question of where did the event take place? So we have 4 questions here. Okay. Probably, I will sort the questions in the right order. So first, we're going to start by asking, where did the event take place? Complaint details, do you want to be contacted? And then, probably the do you want to be contacted for further investigation questions would be the last one. Okay, so we have selected our questions, put them in the right order, and then next. Here we can provide a description, which will be like the header of the form that the users can Read to understand what the purpose of the form is. So we will put a short form's header or description. I think that's enough. Okay. And I click Save. Now I have created the form with all the questions and details I want. Let's have a look. Where is it? This one. Employee's complaint form. Now I can look at it. I can preview the form. So this is how the form will look to my end users or employees. So they will see the description I've provided at the top, the 4 questions. Now note that the questions come in the right data type. So complaint date is a calendar picker, so you can select a date. Complaint details, free text. Do you want to be contacted? Yes or no? And where did the event take place? If you remember, we have defined 4 locations: main headquarter, Factory 1, Factory 2, and client site. So this is how the employee will interact with the form, and this is how the user experience will be, right? Now you have 2 options. Either you send this form to an employee, say, please fill this one. For example, someone called HR or sent an email saying, I would like to make a complaint. So you look at the forms, pick the right form, and assign it to the employee. When you click Assign to an employee, you select who the employee is. Let's say I'm going to pick this person here and click OK. I want this populated by end of next week. Right? And click Send. Now, the moment I do that, the employee will receive email notifications saying a new form is available to you to fill. I can see that these are all the user responses. We are still waiting for these employees to fill the form and send it back. You can send a reminder, which will trigger a new notification or new email to the employee just to remind them to fill the form. And you can look at the responses when they have been received. The other approach is that the employees can pick a form from either the mobile app or from the employee interface and decide to select it without contacting HR. I hope this helps.